Hi, and welcome to The Bottom Line. I'm Pastor Paul Steele from Bethlehem Church in Austin, Minnesota. The Bottom Line is our weekly summary of the previous Sunday's sermon. And we are in this sermon series called The Promise Fulfilled as we walk through this season of Advent. And the reason that we observe Advent is to prepare our hearts and minds for Christmas. Now, Christmas is a holiday when we celebrate the birth of Jesus. But that whole reality can get lost in the busyness of the season as we buy gifts and as we attend parties and we have this event and that event, and we need to be intentional about slowing the pace of our life and thinking about what Christmas is all about. And so we focus and we meditate on the prophecies that talked about the Messiah coming, and we focus on the events surrounding Jesus's birth. And as we do this, not only do we prepare our hearts for the celebration of Christmas, but we also prepare our hearts and our minds for the second coming of Jesus. Because we become confident that because God kept his promise the first time, that he will keep his promise this time. And when the time is right, Jesus will return and make everything right. And so at Advent, we focus on hope, that we have hope because of Jesus. We have hope because God keeps his promises. We focus on peace, that we have reconciliation with God, that relationship with God has been restored because of Jesus and his life and his death and his resurrection. And we have joy. That's what we looked at on Sunday, is the fact that through Jesus, because of Jesus, we can have joy. And what biblical joy is it's a choice. It's a choice to believe God's promises. It's a choice to live with hope. It's to trust in God more than we trust ourselves. And so we have joy in our hearts. We worship. We're thankful for what God has done, regardless of the circumstances that we find ourselves in. And so in Zephaniah, at the end of that book of prophecy, after Zephaniah has told Judah what is about to happen, God gives Judah hope and says, be joyful, rejoice because of this hope that the Messiah will come. We see Mary in Luke when she goes to visit her cousin, her relative Elizabeth, that she sings this song of joy, not because things were going well, because they were in living under the oppression of Rome, and they were living in poverty, but because God was at work and God was keeping his promise. And so there was joy, there was rejoicing because of what God was doing. And Paul tells us, or was praying for the Colossians in Colossians chapter 1, that they would be joyful, giving thanks for what God has done for them. Specifically, the fact that he has rescued them out of darkness and put them into the kingdom of light. And so joy isn't based on our circumstances, on the situations of our life, because then joy would just be fleeting. No, rather, joy is a choice that we make to keep our focus on God, on his promises, on what he has done for us, to live with thanksgiving. And therefore, we are able to be joyful regardless of what happens around us. Our big idea from Sunday is this: joy comes from trusting God to keep his promise and hoping for better things to come. Joy comes from trusting God to keep his promise and hoping for better things to come. And our challenge this week is to read Luke chapter 1, verses 46 through 55. This is Mary's song that Luke records, and through prayer, commit to living with joy that day. Think about what Mary is singing there, and then commit to living with joy, choosing to live with joy, trusting that God will keep his promise. Hey, thank you for watching. Thank you for being part of Bethlehem, even if you can't join us in person. But I do want to invite you to join us every Sunday morning at 10:30 here on YouTube or on Facebook, or better yet, in person here in Austin, Minnesota, next to Ellis Middle School. And if you want to help us with our ministry here in Austin, there are two things you can do for us. You can pray that we would have opportunities to make disciples, to introduce to Jesus to people who haven't heard about him yet or don't have a relationship with him yet. And you can give. Go to our website, BethlehemChurchAustin.com, and find the Give tab and give. That helps us have the resources we need to continue to do ministry here in Austin, Minnesota. And if there's a prayer request that you'd like me to be praying about, let me know, and I'd be glad to add you to my prayer list. Have a wonderful rest of the week, and God bless.